Hi again, I'm Mitch, Dr. US Commercial Master Trainer here at Microsoft, and welcome back to our fourth and final installment of Why Microsoft in Education. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, deployment and management, and how we really set the bar differently when it comes to Microsoft in Education, when it comes to just making sure those devices get out to the users they need to get out to. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So there is truly a simpler way to deploy and manage classroom devices. We can easily manage our classroom devices. We have zero-touch management as well as zero-touch deployment, making sure we just get devices where they need to go quickly and easily. With the ability of importing all the school students and teachers and all the information and having that data sync, no matter if it's 100 students or 9,000 students, the idea is all of that information can sync across, as well as easily reset those devices at the end of the school year if they're shared devices, with everything truly designed around education. Now, we have solutions truly made even for education. But let's go back and talk about what are the traditional ways of getting computers out to your end users and out to your students. Well, it's not wonderful. We build custom images, or your IT department's building custom images. Then they have to deploy those images on multiple devices. And then there's different images. So there's different images for students. And then there's different images for your faculty. And then the teachers have something different, and your admins have something different, and all the principals have something. Oh my goodness. So now we have 5 or 6 different custom images. And then you have to get them on all your devices. And your IT team is only 4 or 5 people. Great. Okay. That's just time and money. It's a lot of time and money. We know that 6 out of 10 decision makers, when maintaining Windows 10 images, they were procuring multiple images, and they also required removal of different applications and programs and different security policies. All this means is time and money being spent by IT on something that honestly is just not that complicated to do, and there's better solutions for it. On average, to get one computer ready, it takes about 4 hours. When you only have an IT team of maybe 3 or 4 people, and even if you get 100 brand new devices, we're talking about 400 hours being necessary to get those 100 devices ready. So what if we could do something a little bit simpler? And that's exactly what we're doing here with Microsoft. We're able to unbox and turn brand new Windows PCs straight out to the end user, or right out to the school, for instance. We're able to transform those devices through the web by being able to log into that device with a single user. And that user, whether it's a student or a teacher or a faculty member, signs in to their account. So my name at school.edu, for instance, and that device is provisioned and imaged right in front of them. So it's just ready to be productive and ready to help get schoolwork done. And that's what Windows Autopilot is. Windows Autopilot is a cloud-based deployment technology for Windows 10 and 11 Pro education devices. It truly enables us to deploy and configure these devices over the internet without ever having to touch them, and without IT ever have to bring all those devices into a single office to try and physically set them up with a single USB drive. And it requires just a couple different things. It, of course, requires Windows 11 Pro devices. It also requires Azure Active Directory, as well as some type of mobile device management tool. Now, what's great is with Azure Active Directory and a mobile device management tool or endpoint manager like Microsoft Intune, they already come included with every single one of our Microsoft 365 education licensing solutions. It's really easy to kind of just see how Autopilot works. The hardware vendor, for instance, Ingram Micro, whom we're working with here, right? They're able to get the devices and acquire those devices and upload all the device IDs up to the Microsoft cloud for you when that purchase is ordered and Autopilot is added on. Those devices are then shipped straight out to your school, and IT can configure their Autopilot settings within Intune for Education, which is our management tool on Azure Active Directory. So IT only has to manage these settings once per group. So for instance, if you have students, teachers, administration, IT admin, and then, I don't know, other faculty, for instance, you can have and set up what those images and security policies and applications and security and everything else that you need per each, and then it just lives there and it's done. They can be updated and uploaded as much and as often as necessary. And when you get those devices and the end user gets those devices, whether it's a teacher or a student or anybody else, all they have to do is join in or log in with their user account, and everything they have just comes together for them. So Intune for Education as a management tool is also really wonderful for the device management lifecycle as well, because it allows us to provision devices and set up those school PCs and school applications through Windows Autopilot and Azure Active Directory. We can then manage all of those devices easy by pushing application updates and different settings and security updates and even full-blown Windows updates for that matter, pushed through Intune for Education on a single web platform. And we can even reset those devices with Intune for Education and Autopilot to reset those devices and prepare those devices either for the next school year to maintain those enrollment of those devices, or even release those devices. If it's a device purchased by a student, we can actually release that from Intune for Education as well, and then be ready to add new devices in the next school year. So it makes it really nice and easy and have this life cycle available when having and managing devices. So Microsoft Intune in and of itself is just a super simple web-based administration console. You already saw a preview of the education one a little bit. This is really what it looks like. And the biggest thing for IT and why IT decision makers and administrators love this is because it all takes place in one place in a single web portal. Not only that, but it also allows us to manage devices from anywhere, as well as get intuitive responses through the dashboard. So if something happens to a group of PCs, we'll know, or the IT admin will know right away. They can manage different software deployments, view different reports, as well as have role-based management. Meaning the way we talked about, there's students, there's teachers, and different things for that matter. So using role-based management can do things like assign a student and teacher together to a single Microsoft Teams for Education solution, or give security access to an IT administrator. Now, it's really interesting that even in education, you're getting full enterprise mobility management, even with Microsoft Intune for Education. And it does a couple really interesting things. It doesn't hit just the PC device in education, but if we think about those administrators and teachers who maybe they check their school email from a mobile device. Maybe they also have iPads. Maybe they have their own mobile phones, whether they're Android or Apple. It doesn't matter, because it actually is able to follow the security access all the way out to any device going ahead and accessing the information within that school environment. So it is really great that it can reach out and be sure to protect the access to the data, as well as the data and security of the individual, no matter what device they're using to access that information from. And as a quick reminder, we did talk about in section 2, we talked about Windows 11 SE devices. And this is just your quick reminder that Windows 11 SE devices are required to use Microsoft Intune, yet they're not exactly required to use Windows Autopilot. But it is nice, of course, when you put them together to just make sure these devices are ready to go. The same way we talked about it, it's very easy to migrate and move identities over, because each identity gets its own email address, right, or login, their name at school.edu. Once they have that, they can enroll all those devices. You could deploy all those devices and log in pretty seamlessly. With that, I do want to thank you for hanging out with me again and checking out Microsoft in Education and what is possible with Windows in education today. Thank you so much. I'm Mitch. Bye-bye.